this stuff in it.
No.
Okay. You ain't taking it now?
Yeah.
Oh, well, don't take it now because this
That's okay,
stuff don't
Dad.
belong on the workbench.
What is in that?
No flour.
Or what is that? Yeast?
That's salt rising yeast, starter, and milk powder. That's the only two things that is. And I've mixed the two of them together.
I didn't. I had you behind, Dad.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
Go ahead.
You're good, Dad.
So now then, I'll just pour it in here. Push the scale back. I won't use this again for another 10, 12 hours, something like that.
How long does it take to make salt rising?
24 hours.
Okay.
So, at least 24. So now I just mix these two up, and that's what it looks like in the beginning. Now then I'll take it in here, and we'll put I'll heat the water up, and all that.
Lesson?
Do I have?
I said, are y'all getting a lesson while else?
We are.
Videotape it.
I'm going to pass this out.
That'll work.
Everybody going to get some. So talk us through it, Dad.
This is my water.
Where's those razors?
Distilled water.
Where's the razor?
In there on the counter. In the bathroom.
Just distilled water that I use to mix it with.
Okay.
I bring this to a boil.
You don't have to be a full boil, does it?
Well,
Pretty hot.
pretty hot, yeah. Master is pretty hot.
So it doesn't have to be a full boil, but it does have to be...
Right, well, you'll have to see the bubbles start coming up off
Okay.
the pan. So it's got to be
So
that
just
hot.
before boil.
Right. You can boil it, it won't hurt it.
Okay.
But if you boil it, and if it's boiling, then it would kill your yeast when you pour it in there. So you
Okay.
gotta just bring it almost to the boil. And like I said, that's just done with the starter, which I've made up, and then this is cornmeal a dash of flour, and a dash of lime is what the starter's made.
So, Daddy, how long have you been making salt rising bread?
50, 60 years. 50 years.
Wow.
Anyway, 50 years.
Wow. And you're now currently the only person here in
Maysville.
that's even making it. It's an art. It's an art form.
And there's a lot of people that's making it now. We've got a fellow in Flemingsburg that makes it. He's Amish. It doesn't taste as rich as mine does. In other words, don't taste as much like your feet smell when you
Because you're making yours actually from total scratch. Even the starter is from total scratch.
Very authentic.
It's home ground cornmeal and everything in here.
It's more authentic.
Yeah,
Cool.
This is Amish cornmeal.
Cool.
That out, didn't we talk to you?
Oh, every time I start to do something, I get a phone call.
No, that's Veronica, I think. Oh, no, that's Debbie.
Debbie.
Okay, Bob.
Well, Linda is documenting Dad making salt rising bread right now. So we'll all have a copy of it.
Well, this stuff is cold, so 'cause I just took it out of the freezer. But,
Now we gotta make sure you get it off of them edges. Took me about 3 times before I figured it out. Everything.
Oh, wait, he's in the process right now. He's just It'll stop here shortly. Okay.
I can smell it.
How is it being?
It smells like milk and flour now.
Yep.
Well, we'll take her in here, put her in the box.
Would you say the box?
The kind of it's a proofer box. Not really a proofer box. It's a kind of a sweat box.
Okay.
A heat box.
All right.
Now I made this box myself.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. So you just built this wooden box, and it looks like there's a bucket in there.
Yeah, that's to set this.
Just set that on, and a light inside it. And how long do you leave it in the box?
Probably about 12 to 14 hours. Well, 12 to 14 hours until I go to the second set.
Okay.
And then it'll have to stay in there another 3 or 4 hours.
Okay.
Second set will be probably around 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
I'll be getting up about 4 o'clock.
And you have to stir this periodically, correct?
No.
No? Okay.
And I got the thermometer in there. The thermometer tells you what the temperature is in there. It has
Oh,
to be
okay.
Between 100 and 110. Somewhere about 105, 103 to 5 is really the
And that light is what keeps it warm.
Right.
Okay.
Push the door to. Light stays on, keeps it warm. Now in the summertime, sometimes or in the wintertime, when it's colder in here, I have to stop up some of these holes so that the air don't get in as much. But otherwise, it pretty well stays about the same in there.
Okay, so you have holes.
Yeah, I have a hole on each side of it.
There's a hole,
Yeah.
and that's what he has to plug during the wintertime
Right.
to keep the temperature to regulate the temperature.
Right.
And there's one on each side of the box.
Now when we go to the second set, we'll change out of that other pan that it's in and put it in that other pan up there on top.
Okay. All right, we'll pick it up in a few hours. This will be all right.
The only thing I'm doing now is just heating the water.
Mm-hmm.
Till it's about hot enough I can't stand it with my finger. I've already got the flour scaled off in there.
Okay.
And the dough is ready to, the dough isn't ready to do it, but the set, this is the second set on this.
So now it's been in that box about how many hours?
Okay, just a minute, we'll see. Hold on. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Now smell it.
Ew. Not good. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot different from when we first started with it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Smells a little different too. And we're not really slopping hogs.
And the flour's already been measured off over there on the scales.
Pound and 12 ounces of flour there.
You got to be committed to this, don't you?
Yes, you do. Very. Because it's a,
Now, isn't that hot?
well, the flour cooled it down.
Okay.
It's warm. Pretty warm. Oh no. I put a pound too much flour in this.
You knew it by just feeling it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to put 4 or 5 more ounces of water in there.
That's his scales.
Scale that off. Heavy.
And here are his other weights. There's the 4-pound weight, 4-pound weight, and the 1-pound weight. You should have used this one.
Mm-hmm. I still make just more bread than when I started to.
So the fact that you didn't have as much starter is going to be okay?
Yeah. It'll still make it, I think. It's a good strong starter.
You're going to have lots of salt rising bread.
Yeah.
This is
See
his.
what I'll do later in the next one.
I'm just.
In the next set, I'll cut back a pound of flour.
Mm-hmm. And then how long is it going to stay in there now?
34 hours. And then we'll put it out here. This is what it looks like before we pour it into the mixing bowl.
Hmm. kind of bubbly. Pretty stinky.
Stick more when I pour it.
Yeah, it does. Whew. Don't judge a book by its smell. Or bread by its smell. Okay.
I gotta get my water.
Now, how much flour and...
Right there, there's 3 pounds of flour on there, and then the rest of it is lard, sugar, and salt.
And you accounted for the extra flour that you'd already added.
Right. Because I got more flour to go in there yet. I'll put it down. 3 pounds. I normally put 7 pounds, so I already had that 1 pound extra in there. And now I'll just put in 3. That's not saying I might not have to put more or less.
Wow.
I'll leave this on there, and I'll go to that too. Because each loaf will be 1 pound and 2 ounces. So that's how I have to weigh it when I cut it out. This is the refrigerator.
So each loaf of bread weighs 1 pound and 2 ounces.
Actually, we scaled it down to, but at least it weighs 1 pound.
Now that's a mixer.
That is the mixer. Water to detail by the flour, so it really.
And of course, humidity will have an impact, and
Oh, everything does. See, I might have to use more flour. But I will have to add another pound of flour to do it.
when Daddy bakes, it's all about the feel. Clean the bowl up. Yeah. A master at work.
Scaled 1 pound 2 ounces, but it bakes out about a pound. Pound 1, you know, it loses a little bit of moisture in the oven. Black specks you can't see in it is come out of the cornmeal.
Yes, because that's fresh ground corn.
Right. Which was in the starter.
Right.
The starter itself. Save a lot of work if I could just do them all like that.
Yeah.
and a small one. Get over here and I'll get my cover. This cover's probably at least 3 years old. Yeah. I keep them in, and that's all I do is cover that dough up for a little while.
And now we're just going to let that rise for...
Just a little bit, not long, until I get my pans ready.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew what you... Only 13?
Yep.
And a small one, right?
Yep.
That'll be 12. Smaller than the rest. This over here now. This thing is the inside.
That's Dad's homemade proof box. And it's basically a pan rack with a plastic cover and an electric skillet for the water.
I'm not going to plug it in yet, but not until I get ready. Now then. Lid on my flour.
I'll walk over here and show them the oven. This is Dad's oven.
It's a double oven.
Yes.
I'll just turn the light on for you. There's nothing down here just like this one.
Yep.
But I only use the one oven. Otherwise, I'd have to turn all the lights off, refrigerators, and everything else in this house. His own little bake shop. He's going to have some happy Easter customers. And how much do you sell a loaf for? $4 a loaf.
And he's been at this for 2 days making this bread. So it's not a quick or easy
No,
process.
This is not. Normal white bread or whatever you can make a matter of a couple 3 hours. I mean, you know, the process takes that long, but you don't.
Right.
It's not a.
And that's our baby loaf.
It's not much smaller than the others.
Yeah.
It's smaller.
Well, and it's a good way to know which one is the baby loaf.
Yeah. That's the one we eat.
Yummy.
Okay, now that's all for a few minutes. I gotta do this.
It's already rising a little bit.
I'll spread a little flour on them. That way they don't stick to the cover.
And they're already starting to rise.
It's soft enough.
Mm-hmm. We'll be back directly. Camcorder. You got your video camera on your phone. I said, well, that's my phone. I wanted one that's separate. So let me see, Dad.
It's them piss ants. Piss 'em ants.
Mm-hmm.
No, that ain't one.
Got it.
Big one. That's a big one. Big
Damn
sucker.
thing.
Boy, they're coming. They're searching for a place to make homes. New homes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll sit over here then out of your way.
You might want to stand right here and take a picture of just the first few. That's what I do. Throw a little flour out here on the edge. I use the first one I do first. Just stick it to the flour. Just there to get that way. A little piece of corn cob, I call it. Off of the cornmeal. Number one. Good feeling dough. Smells like dirty socks, so I make good bread.
It don't taste like dirty socks.
And salt rising, it's funny, they call it salt rising, but it has probably less salt in it than any other bread.
I wonder what.
Do you know where he got his name, salt rising?
No.
Back in the older days when they was going west, they had no way to raise the stuff, you know, to make their yeast work and whatever. So what they did, they had a bucket. They'd make it up and put it on the back of their wagon. And but in the summertime, they would, of course, that's when they traveled. They would take salt and pack that yeast, the water and the stuff, because it has to raise at a certain temperature. They would take that out and set it in the sun, and then pack the salt, hot salt, around this jar that they had their yeast in to make it rise.
Oh.
Because it'd soak up the heat, and in the wintertime, in the night, it would still be hot. That salt would hold the heat. That's what got salt rising, because the salt made the bread rise. Like where I used a light bulb, they used
Salt.
hot salt.
On the back of their covered wagon.
Mm-hmm. Probably one of the oldest breads that there is.
Do you know of any bakeries around that actually still make salt rising bread?
Well, the Amish has got a bakery up in Flemingsburg here. Now they make it in Lexington, but it's not a true salt rising. I'm the only one around here that makes, Mason County, that makes it. And the Amish makes one, but it's not as strong as mine. I mean, smells more like white bread than it does salt rising. And if it don't stick, it's not a good bread. It's not a good salt rising anyway. The salt rising is best toasted.
Yes, it is.
Butter and toast.
Looks like a real pretty dough.
It feels good. It's not too soft, it's not too hard, it's not too stiff. In other words, this time we got just the right amount of flour and everything in it.
You know, when I make my homemade yeast rolls or anything like that, I'm like you. I have to kind of
Go by your feel.
go feel. Sometimes I add a little more water, sometimes a little more flour.
You know, I once agree why you get it just right.
Yeah. And then I cook that way as well. And it's what made it really hard to write that cookbook. Because
unless you make it.
Exactly. And sometimes it's not just making it. You need to watch the person make it.
Right.
So that you can watch their technique and how they do it and actually reach in that bowl and touch it so you know what it feels like. And as children, we were blessed that we had a parent
For the
that
bakery part of it, yes.
we were, for many, many reasons, Dad, we were very blessed. But baking was one of them, too. We learned from the master. I tell people that a lot of families grow up singing around a piano, which we did some. We did some with Mom. But we grew up around a stove in a kitchen, learning how to cook and bake.
That and a donut fryer.
Yep.
Frying donuts and had to stand on pop cases to reach the grease.
Yep. Or working the till in the front of the bakery, standing on a pop case to reach the money till. As the customers paid, we could put the money in the till. Boxing up a donut. I remember Angie was the donut fryer, and I generally got stuck doing the icing, doing the frosting, and running the front end. When we would come down to help. I remember boxing up many a donut to take to Oscar Mayer for deliveries for their cafeteria. I remember sitting many a night with you in the middle of the night on a weekend when I didn't have school or during the summer, and you had a open pit flame. Do you remember that? I remember it'd be cold back in there, and I'd be sitting back there with my feet up against that as close as I could. I remember one time I melted my nylons right off my feet. God, I'm so close to that open fire. Oh. And we all have our memories of spending time in the bakery with Dad. And John working with you in the bakery. And so now they're ready to go in the proof box. Plug in the skillet to get it hot. And basically it's a humidifier.
Right. Let me get this water over here. Now salt rise takes a lot longer to rise than most breads and things.
Oh.
So it might take it 3 or 4 hours to raise up to go to the oven.
Wow.
Where other breads, an hour, 45 minutes mostly.
He's staggering them so that the humidity can get around the pans so they all proof nicely. Done.
For a while.
For a little bit. We'll come back in a few hours and it'll be ready to pop them in the oven. Too bad these video cameras don't have smell-o-vision.
Yeah.
Because when it comes out of the oven, it's going to be smelling like something delicious in here.
Yeah, it will. There it is.
Here it is, all proofed, raised, ready to go into the oven. Mm-hmm.
So beautiful. I bet that's a heavy oven too, isn't it, Dad?
Like he said, if he used both the upper and the lower, he'd have to shut everything else off in the house. It would draw so much juice. It'd blow a breaker.
And how long do you bake it for?
And right here now, I've got it set for 7 minutes, and then I'll turn it.
Okay.
Now this says 350, but it's 400 degrees in there.
Okay.
These ovens are 50 degrees with the circulating heat. You
They're 50
go 50
degrees.
degrees off.
Okay.
See, I'll just leave this
Oh, so
here
that's
set
why
in
you said
here.
this. And then you'll do those afterwards.
Yeah. See, we gotta come
See,
down.
I do my own croutons in my microwave. When I do my cinnamon rolls and those.
Much of it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's why I like this camera. So now it's time to turn them. Now how long?
Another 7 minutes.
His baking supplies.
Boxes.
His boxes for packaging. His tarts and his pies.
These over here are quarter sheet boxes, and these here are pie boxes.
He's got quite a little operation here.
Pots and pans everywhere.
Look at the size of those rolling pins.
Now this is what I use for pie dough and whatever. You roll for both ends.
Uh-huh.
See, they're up.
Yep.
And that way you go this way, and then you turn around and go this way. Push it down. Center.
Mm-hmm.
This one.
Oh my Lord.
That's an aluminum one.
That's a big rolling pin, Daddy.
Heavy one.
Is that the one you probably use the
I
most?
use this one more, yeah. That other one I used to use in the big bakers where the table was twice as wide as this one
Yeah.
and twice as long. So, but I had it in the other bakery, so I brought it home.
Look at that. Golden. Perfection. That's what that is. Golden perfection.
Swish, swish. Put the butter to her, margarine, or whatever.
Onto the cooling rack.